Welcome back, guys. Thanks for the kind comments about my first video. I have sent those cards off. They are at PSA now, in the process of being graded. And of course, I will let you know what happens when they come back. Here's the stack, by the way, because I just realized I'm making a video with a bunch of white space. When those cards come back, I'll let you know how I did with them. There were three of them that got baseball cards flagged because they didn't think they were worth grading. One was the 77 Ryan, the 76 Ryan, and I can't remember what the other card was. The 76 Ryan, I had them hold off. The 77, I had them go ahead and send because they thought that was going to be a 7. And for what I paid for that, having it graded as a 7 would be nice to either have or be able to flip. I am going to show you another batch I've been acquiring for another round, and this round will go in the box as soon as I finish recording this video. All right, first guy today is 1948 Leaf, Jim Corbett. Corbett was one of the best boxers of all time around the turn of the century. I realized, by the way, that my last one, after I uploaded it, I saw that it was like half an hour long, so I'm going to try to burn through these and not ask you to sit there and watch me put cards out for half an hour. 1952 Bowman Presidents. I got a bunch of these. I bought a lot, and I'm selling some of the singles on eBay already. Some of them have sold. The Jim Corbett, by the way, I am guessing that I'm going to get a 5 on that one. 52 Bowman Presidents. This set was apparently so popular that when Topps acquired Bowman, they re-released it in 1957 with Dwight Eisenhower card. And then they released it again in 1972, and it's all the same artwork except obviously for the new presidents, the people they had to add. But the 52 Bowmans are the same size as like the 52 Bowman football large, 50, 3, 4, 5 Bowman baseball. George Washington here, I think I'm going to get a 6 on him. Corners are rough, but he's centered pretty well. The upper right corner's not too hot, so if that's a 6, cool. But it's George Washington. Harry Truman sells well because people dig Harry Truman, and I think that's a 7. And then Benjamin Harrison, nobody cares about, but I think this guy might be an 8. Centered really nicely. 2 of the corners are real sharp, the 2 right side corners, and the bottom left is just touched. The upper left is barely touched. 53 Bowman Richie Ashburn. It's a 53 Bowman, not much to say, but it looks like it's pretty clean, and I am going for a 5 on that one. I love these. I don't know why, because they're not technically baseball cards. 56 Topps checklist. 56 Topps is my favorite set of all time, by the way. If I were to ever own or go after a vintage set, it would be 56 Topps, but I don't see that happening. This, I'm predicting a 3. This, the Pittsburgh Pirates box there, is not checked. That's like a speck in the cardboard. None of the boxes are checked. And there is, however, unfortunately, this crease that you can probably see. So I'm calling that a 3, but if somebody's building a low-grade set and wants these checklists, that's going to be a pretty clean one. The King of Rock and Roll. I think this is a 57 set because of the size. PSA's graded it. Their holders say 56, but you know, Elvis, clean. This goes along the line of the stuff that I dig, the non-sport stuff that I dig. 57 Topps baseball. You can't really go wrong here. Bobby Richardson is a really nice, really centered short print from the middle series. Centered well, clean back. This card is just, I mean, that's ridiculous. 3 Hall of Famers. Ferrillo was pretty great. Clean. I think there were 407 cards in the 55 set, or 56 set, so that's close to the end. This is a middle series, and I got this because it's so nice that I think it will get an 8. And 8 middle series numbers sell pretty well. I think the Dodgers Sluggers I'll get like a 6 or a 7 on. All right, more non-sport. This is his 57 Topps Hit Stars set. James Dean card is wild. Look at the corners on that. Like, they're really sharp. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, everybody. I'm not a professional camera guy. I'm a card guy, not a camera. Corners on this guy are super sharp. It's white. So the reason for that is I bought it in a CSA holder as an 8.5. I think that's a PSA 9. And for what I paid for it in a CSA holder, I think it's going to be great. I've never cracked a holder before. I cracked that one, and then after I did that one and it turned out, I cracked 4 more, which I'll explain later in this video. Here's 2 more cards from that set. I might only get an 8 on the James Dean. I think these are both pretty solid 8s for some pretty cool star cards. 60 and 61 Fleer, can't get enough, especially the Ted Williams card. And that Williams is a 60, and I think this guy is going to get me a 6. Big hockey guy I am. I love vintage hockey. 61, 62 Topps hockey. Harry Howell, Hall of Famer. Unless you're really into hockey. A lot of people don't know the Hockey Hall of Famers, but he is one. 61, 62, and this card looks pretty sharp to me. Yeah, look at that. The corners are all like that. That was pretty good. Pretty good. So, looking for an 8 on that card is what I think I have there. 7. No, I'd take a 7 on that. 62 Musial, man. Rough corners, and of course they stand out on these dark colored borders. But it's a Musial. It was cheap. It's well centered. It's centered really nicely, I think. And if I get a 4 on that, I'll be doing great. I mentioned in my last video, I love the first and last cards in sets. This is the last card in the 67 Topps set. So it's a high number. It's not Tommy John's rookie card, but it's clean. It's not centered great, and I realized after I bought it, it's got something that I hate, which is this slant cut. I hate that. You know, thicker here than here, thinner here than here. But, you know, I own it now, and I think even if I get a 5 on this, I can still do okay with it. 68 Topps, couple cool ones here. The Seaver's really nice. I looked at this under a loop, which I don't do very often. I got this guy, this thing. Corners on this are really good. And so that one I have on my sheet, which you saw a little peek of here. I'm just going to put it out there. By the way, I want to mention again, I talked about Got Baseball Cards. They are not a sponsor of the video. They do not give me a discount on anything. They're not a sponsor. I just like their service a lot. Sievers, I'm going for I put 6 on here, and if I do a 6, it'll be great, but I think it might do a 7, or maybe even an 8. This card is really well centered. The corners are not excellent. I mean with a small e, not with a capital E, as in excellent condition. But it's a sharp looking card. It's really the registration is very good. I think this is going to really look good in a slab, even if the number on the slab is only like a 5. I'll be real happy with that. 1970 Topps, Frank Robinson, one of my all-time favorite cards. I think I mentioned last time I was building for a long time Orioles team sets, and this was a card. It's tough to find this card because it's a high number, superstar. It's also hard to find it square. A lot of them had that slant cut problem that I have talked about. This one's pretty sharp all the way around. Obviously, the centering both directions is not that great, but with the color registration, I don't think PSA counts registration, but in case they do, if I get a 6 here, I'm doing pretty good. These next cards, 71 Topps Nolan Ryan. Like any 70s are because they're a super high number, really hard to find and really expensive, and they're not something that I would probably buy on eBay and grade for flipping. But I had a couple in the first video and a couple more here. If I do 4s on those, I'm nailing it. This card, so now we're getting into the era that I really like, because 73 was the first stuff that I bought as a collector, as a kid. 74 was the first year I bought a bunch. This is the key card in that set. This isn't a great one. This isn't as good as I thought it was online. This is kind of one of the hazards of buying online. Centering's really nice. This is another card that you see tons of them. Slant cut or diamond cut. This one's straight, centering off, top to bottom, obviously off. The picture, the coloring in the picture is not that great. So I was hoping for something better, but it didn't happen. If that's a 6, I'm cool. Here's another card I'd be happy to get a 6 on. I would argue the best coach in the history of the National Hockey League. This guy's a little ding down here, and this corner's not wonderful. So, hoping for a 6. I'm a sucker for these cards and the Bretts, although I have not found Bretts that I think I can flip very well. If this is a 5, I'm going to do good. This, again, the Younts in particular, the Bretts also, slant cut like all the time. A lot of them are slant cuts. This one's not. Top to bottom, it's a little low. But, again, 5 on that does me well. All right, here's 3 of the 4, no, 2 of the other 4 cards that I cracked the slabs. So when I first sent cards in, the first cards I ever sent in to get graded, I bought a ton of Hostess cards about 3 years ago and decided, okay, I'm going to get rid of them. And I had bought panels specifically so I could, so what I was going to do was buy tons of panels and go after the sets autographed of the players who were still with us. I used to really be into autographs, mailing them out and sending cards to signings and stuff like that. So I had these panels, and I would look for ones that had really wide margins still on them, so I could cut them with a paper cutter so they would be the size of a regular card, because these cards are smaller on the borders. See if you can see that lined up. See, it's a little bigger and it's a little wider. They're a touch bigger than like a 51, 52 Bowman small size, Bowman baseball. And so I sent these cards in with the margins all around them. So they were the size of a regular baseball card. They were the same size as that Yount rookie I just showed you. So they had white all around them. And I sent in these two, and I sent in a 1976 Aaron and a 1976 Dennis Eckersley, so rookie year. They came back graded authentic. And I thought, that's weird. I went on eBay, and I saw there were cards that were graded PSA 9s, PSA 10s, but they were cut on this dotted line. So my paper cutter came out. I cracked them out of the cases last week, and there they go. I mean, these should be 9s. They're cut with a paper cutter right along the lines, so we'll see. And then this one is one that I picked up recently. Now this, you see the picture's a little different, a little more washed out. That's because the Yount on the right is from a box bottom. The Yount on the left, this one, is from a Twinkie package. So they would stick the cards on the cardboard that comes in the individual cases, and you only got one card instead of a panel of 3. That's why there's no dotted line on this side, because the card, way it was in the card, there was white cardboard all around here like this, and then this was the margin. So 2 Yount rookies. All right, these are my favorite cards in this whole batch. So my brother is a non-sport, like anime. He's into all that stuff. He figured out a hack to get all kinds of, these are called Menko cards from Japan. So I was up to visit him not too long ago. He lives up in Pennsylvania. And he goes, I have a bunch of baseball Menko. Would you like to see them? And I said, see them? I'd like to own them. And he goes, okay, you can have them. Like, he'd made a bunch of money off of the stuff that he was flipping, his Spider-Man, Menko, and Speed Racer and stuff like that. And he didn't care. He didn't care about baseball. And so we have Sadaharu O. That's O. This one's also. This is Nagashima, and this is Nagashima. And Nagashima is supposedly the second best Japanese baseball player in history. I gave you a tease there. You know, Eckersley rookie is what it is. I had some of these in the first video too, I think. This spot here, you can see it's exactly the same on these two. All 3 of them, it's exactly the same. This is very common. This, see this printing here? Like, that's printed, that's not a surface problem. That's printed on the card, like this black border ran or something. Like it's like smudged, smeared. So that's on the card. That's weird. Centered though, and all of these Eckersleys I would like to get 6s on. This Eckersley's off center top to bottom, but it doesn't have the smearing. And this Eckersley is off-centered left to right. So I don't know what PSA does in situations where a card, an overwhelming majority of a card has these dots, whether it matters. I would think it shouldn't matter. I would think that would knock the grade down, even though it's technically, I mean, it's not supposed to be there, but it's usually there. It's like the smudging I told you about last time on the Molitor Trammell rookies. These are the Eckersley and Aaron cards cut from panels that I'm going to give a second shot. Getting down to the wire here. Eddie Murray rookie. I mean, I can't pass up a nice, clean, centered Eddie Murray rookie, even if the corners are rough. On the 2 Hostess I just showed you, I'm bucking for 9s. On the Menko, the Japanese cards, if I get 4s on those, like, I don't think it matters. I think people see those so seldom that if you're looking for a card of those two guys for your collection and you're looking for something graded, you'll spring for one that's a low grade, and I'll still be able to do well flipping it. The Murray, I'm looking for a 6 on this. Here's a Molitor Trammell rookie that has the smudging that I was referring to last time. And it's weird, I looked at a bunch of these after I made the last video. There are some that are clean, but it's the smudge, the ones that are smudging is different on every card. Every single one. I've never seen 2 that are the same. But this one I think is pretty decent. Sharp corners, clean. If I do a 6 on that, I'll be able to flip that nicely. Yeah, this might look like something you've seen before, but you probably haven't, because this is the OPC version, Canadian version. Much easier to tell in the back because the card stock's different and the writing, half of the writing is in French. These OPC cards are rarely, if ever, centering is always a problem. The card stock is crappy, so corners are wear is a problem, and they're rough cut like a nut. They're ridiculous on the cuts. This one overall is fairly clean. And by the way, the OPC Ozzie Smith rookies, for some reason, have the same problems with centering that the Topps ones do. They're off center a lot and they're tilted. There's a lot of tilting on this card, and you can see even on this one. These borders are straight. This one is straight. Something's going on with this card because the Topps ones are like this too. You see how it's thin here and it gets thicker over to that side. Anyway, 6 is what I'm aiming for there. Ricky Henderson rookie. This corner's kind of jacked up. A 6 is possible? No? 5? I don't know. Last one. Thanks for your viewing today, guys. Brett Hull rookie OPC. I haven't looked at one of these for probably 20 years. I used to go through these things like crazy. It's really clean. It's the edges are just rough enough that I think it's legit. I'm pretty confident this is legit. Guys, thanks for watching this one. Love to hear what you think about my goals in the comments. Am I crazy? Do I have a good shot to get the grades that you think I'm going to get, or that I think I'm going to get? Or am I buying terrible cards to get graded? I'd love to hear your opinion. Like the video and hit the subscribe button because well, first of all, to the 3 subscribers I already have, thanks guys. And obviously when you subscribe, it helps me, more people find this video. Catch you next time. More cards this time. Finish the video in 23 minutes. Thanks. Check ya.